What is going on, IF Warriors? So there's been a lot of myths that's been building over time, a lot of different magical elements that a lot of people attach to things like intermittent fasting that can drive you astray. Here, I'm going to give you the best ways, the actual keys to losing body fat, to push away all of the noise so that you get the actual scientific strategies and possibilities for losing body fat using intermittent fasting. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Guys, quickly before we start, down in the description box below, there's a link to my app that will launch on the 2nd of March, which is this Wednesday. You have a limited amount of time to sign up now before that Wednesday hits, because if you sign up, the first month will just be $1 and you can cancel at any time. Go ahead and click that link. That app is going to allow you to communicate with me directly. I'm going to have follow along workouts, studies, recipes, intermittent fasting information, things that I can't really even do here on YouTube because I have to cater to a specific catalog of videos. There, I'll be able to give you the full understanding of what is needed to fully engage your body and try to reach your weight loss or fitness goals. Go ahead and click that link down below. Trust me, you won't regret it. All right, so the first thing that I have to talk about, because this gets conflated and confused and people become disingenuous with this topic, but it is calorie control. Now, when studies are looking at caloric intake versus intermittent fasting, that does not, I repeat, guys, that does not mean that intermittent fasting is devoid of caloric restriction and that they are just competing with caloric restriction while those who are doing intermittent fasting are not restricting calories. They are restricting calories. And when the results are shown to be positive for intermittent fasting, it is more than likely that those who did intermittent fasting versus caloric restriction, they were able to eat either ad libitum, which means as much as they like, but because of the eating window and because of how that compresses how much you can eat throughout the day, that they were able to eat less calories than their control group counterpart. This is the thing that gets so many people confused and so many people to sometimes even look at intermittent fasting and question what is happening, because they think that it is calorie restriction versus intermittent fasting, and it is not. It is calorie restriction alone versus intermittent fasting that provides calorie restriction through the intermittent fasting process, and which is more effective for you to do. That's the question that those studies are trying to answer. So please understand that caloric restriction is paramount. Can you do intermittent fasting without paying attention to your calories? Yes, you can. But that does not mean that you are not in a caloric restriction. It just means that your intermittent fasting system has allowed you to be in a caloric restriction without having to pay attention to being at a net negative or net positive. You are simply at a net negative energy balance, and that is why you are losing weight. If you are doing intermittent fasting and you're struggling to lose weight and you're not paying attention to your calories, you may be eating too much during your eating window. This is why caloric restriction is super important. And yes, this is an intermittent fasting channel, but it's intermittent fasting within the science that we have. And science still shows and has shown for so many years that caloric restriction 100% matters. Now, what's the specialness of intermittent fasting? Well, it can help you tackle body fat effectively because hormonally, we have different things triggering, different things that hold on to water, different things that hold on to glycogen, things that hold on to body fat. Our bodies hormonally have so much complexity to it. The hormonal triggers and factors that come with intermittent fasting, for example, using your body fat as fuel, turning that into ketones and replacing the glucose usage for your brain and giving it ketones instead that come from your body fat, are ways that intermittent fasting shows the difference between just doing caloric restriction when it comes to body fat burning and the hormonal factors of weight loss. But if you are not in a caloric restriction, if you are not net negative, nothing will change. Please understand that your body will not need to pull from new sources, because at the end of the day, the sources have been replenished. Okay, so now let's talk about when people tell you, listen, the longer you fast, the better it is. Just fast longer. You'll be better off. And I used to be in this boat as well, because the studies were a little bit early on, back in 2018, 2017, and they would show that the longer you fast, the better it is. But the problem with that is that there is a short-term vision to that process. You're looking at it in a short-term way. Yeah, if you keep fasting, you've switched your metabolic, you've done the metabolic switchover, and you're in that fasted state for a long time. So you're using ketones for a very long time, much longer than you normally do. So therefore you're burning more body fat. But what about the sustainability factor? That's what people don't take into account. People don't take into account even the post goal reaching moment. What happens after you've reached the goal body weight that you wanted to reach? What happens after you see success with the weight loss? The harsh reality is that weight loss is not really the problem that we face, especially here in America. Weight regain is the number one problem when it comes to weight control. Almost everyone, even someone who is morbidly obese, has been able to lose weight from time to time. Have they been able to sustain that weight loss? That is what is important. You need to find a system, even if it's not intermittent fasting. This is how deep this goes. Even if it's something else, you need to find a system that, one, helps you lose weight, but more importantly, two, helps you keep that system as long as you live. Because it is no longer, people need to stop thinking, oh, I just need to do this diet and then I'll get back to where I was before and then I'll be good and I can start doing what I'm doing now. People create this delusion that what they're doing right now is fine. They just somehow lost their way. And if they could just do a diet to get them down, they'll just go back to what they're doing now and they'll be okay. No. What you're doing now is what's maintaining your weight, which means it is the necessary amount of calories that you're eating to keep you that way. If you lose weight and then start eating the way you were before, you will go back to the way you were before. You need to find something that works for you for the long term, not for the short term. So when someone tells you, the best intermittent fasting system for you, if you haven't started yet, is the longest one, or maybe the shortest one, because you don't it's the one that you can stick to. That's the best one for you. And finally, let's tackle the whole, you don't need to exercise because intermittent fasting is so powerful, it does it all for you. Not exercising, you don't need to exercise to lose weight. You absolutely do not. But it is like climbing a mountain with no equipment versus climbing a mountain with equipment. They're both kind of hard to do. You're going to have to work at it. But with equipment is a lot more guaranteed, a lot more safer, and a lot more faster. This is because when you build muscle helps your lean mass growth, and your lean mass is the primary driver for your metabolic rate. That helps you actually burn fat more, or that helps that helps your body's thermic effect even more. It increases burning more calories per day to maintain the muscle. When you are doing cardio, that increase of energy expenditure helps consistently burn more calories to put your body at rest, to try to rest your body from when you do those workouts. When you exercise, you're able to actually eat more and still be at an overall bigger calorie deficit, because even though you're eating more, you are also burning more with the muscles that you're building, with the cardio exercise, with the exercise of resistance training. Because of that activity, you are burning more. Thus, it is so much more easier for you to actually lose weight, and more effective and sustainable. Because when you build that muscle and you try to maintain the muscle, what ends up happening is that keeps revving that metabolism, that keeps your body burning more calories, even if you are not doing anything, even if you are resting. As opposed to if you didn't build that muscle, you're climbing the same mountain in a much more difficult path. Heed my warnings and understand the importance of exercise. Do not just create mathematical equations in your head and say, well, if I do this, then I will get this result. The body is incredibly complex, and there are things that you can do to help your body reach that goal easier so you don't feel overwhelmed and you start to reach your goals at a better pace. Hopefully this video has helped you guys. Patreons will be pinned in the comment section below, and do not forget to click down in the description box for the app. The Fledge Fitness app is finally, after all these years, launching this Wednesday, March 2nd. If you click the link, go there and sign up now. You'll be able to get the first month for just $1. Can't wait to see you guys there, and have a good one.